Am I the a-hole for telling my husband his gift for his son won't be received the way he wants it to be? My husband Rich and I have been married for 15 years. We have 2 children together, ages 13 and 11. Rich has 2 children from his marriage to his late wife, May. My stepkids are 24 and 23. My stepson is the oldest, stepdaughter is the youngest. When Rich first found out he was going to be a father, he started a scrapbook for his son that had photos and written memories and little mementos added in that he continued throughout the next 25 years. He did the same for his other 3 children as well. This book documents everything from fun memories to sweet and heartfelt ones to even some more heartbreaking ones, like the loss of May. My husband has decided the scrapbook will be his gift to his son for his 25th birthday. He included all sorts of family photos and moments in this scrapbook, including since we got married and had our kids. But both my stepkids have been pretty clear that they do not have a fondness for me or for their half-siblings, and they have no trace of us in their homes. When he moved out, he left behind photos he was in that included me and my children, his half-siblings. And when my husband mentioned he had forgotten some photos, my stepson replied he had double and triple checked and had everything he wanted. My stepdaughter was a little more clear, and she actually tossed any unwanted photos in the trash before she moved out. On their social media they post family photos, but funnily enough they never have me or their half-siblings included. They never acknowledge us online at all. My stepkids both also said they'd like it if their dad didn't bring us, because if he's visiting they'd like to see him and only him. My husband brushed off that comment by saying he could stop by on his own too, but they'd never see the rest of us if we didn't visit. I'll say right here, I was not an affair partner, nor did I ever expect the kids to forget about their mom or replace her with me. Nor did I expect my husband to. I did not push myself on them. The kids never spoke out against us getting married or brought any issues to me or my husband about us. And we did talk to them. It really only became apparent after they became adults. So when my husband brought up that he was going to gift the scrapbook to his son for his 25th birthday, I asked him if he was sure, and he was like, why not? His son would love it and he couldn't wait for us all to go through it together. I told him I wasn't so sure he'd love all of it given his refusal to have photos of me or the kids in his home. He told me it's not like he could remove them. I didn't comment. He asked me what I expected and then asked if I thought he'd rip those pages out or something. I said yes. He asked why I was being so negative, and I told him that given the last several years, I really didn't think the gift would be received the way he's expecting. My husband told me my negativity was too much and he was unhappy with me thinking of his kids like that. Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. Your husband is in denial, as others are saying. I think it might be best to let it go at this point though. Hopefully the son doesn't destroy the scrapbook.
I don't think he'd destroy the whole thing. I can see him tearing out pages that mention or have photos of me and the kids.
We should mention the only reason your husband is able to remain in denial about this is you are the one who is being punished for existing. Your husband doesn't deal with shit treatment from his kids, you do. Why are you allowing people to treat you this way? And why are you allowing your husband to act like it isn't happening? His wife is being disrespected and he's been acting for years like it isn't even happening. That's not husband material, that's little boy material.
Not the a-hole your husband has his head buried in the sand. Have you all done family therapy?
In the past, yes. Not recently.
You may not have pushed for stepkids to be close to you, but it sure sounds like your husband did behind the scenes. Your husband naively thinking that his gift is a good idea is an example of that pushing, and he still refuses to accept that his children want nothing to do with y'all. If I were you, I'd keep my kids away from them to shield them from the blatant rejection. Your husband needs therapy, not the a-hole.
Not the a-hole. Your husband is in major denial re how his kids feel about you and their half-siblings. That said, if he's bent on giving this gift, he can knock himself out, but his son will probably rip out the pages with pictures he doesn't want, best case, or it may put a rift between him and his dad, worst case. I truly don't understand what your husband is thinking here.
Not the a-hole. I think you have handled this in the best way you possibly can. You have no delusion about your relationship with his children and the relationship they want to have with you. But unfortunately your husband is still operating under the idea that you have successfully become one happy blended family. It's sad that's not the case, but it's good you can see that clearly. I say let this lie, you have made your opinion known. If he still follows through with giving this gift, then it's on him to deal with any disappointment he receives from them. Remember, it doesn't matter how clearly you can see this is not a good idea. If he believes it is, then let him do what he wants. Telling him how his kids will react will only breed animosity towards you even if you are proven correct. It's best to just let the kids tell their dad how they feel regardless of how sad and disappointed you think he may be.
Am I the a-hole for not picking a new color for my house even though my son finds the one we have embarrassing? I bought my house 15 years ago. It was a fixer-upper and needed a lot of work. The only thing I kept the house is it's painted bright pink. The guy I bought it from said it was his deceased father's house. He had painted it this way to piss off his neighbors. I decided I liked the color and kept it the way it was. When I married my wife a year later, she agreed. We now have 3 kids, a 13-year-old boy, a 10-year-old girl, and an 8-year-old girl. We are doing some minor renovations to the house and have decided to touch up the paint as it's been a while. My son asked that we painted a normal color because it's embarrassing to live in a pink house. We declined and said we liked the color. Ultimately, it's our house and we'll be living in it longer than him. When we die, he's free to paint it what he wants. My mother-in-law feels we're being unfair and that we should take into account how it's embarrassing for a teen boy to live in a Barbie house. We asked my son if he's being teased and he said no, but he hates it. Our daughters like it. Are we wrong for not painting the house a normal color?
Not the a-hole, I live in a pink house. The color was chosen by my husband's grandfather when the house was built. It's the only pink house in our area, and anytime someone asks where we live, we say the pink house on our street, and they all know the house. It's on a main road, so it sticks out in the sea of traditional colors. The story behind the house is, my husband's grandfather was known to be a very frugal man. When it came to picking a house color, he chose what was on sale, hence the pink. 60 years later, and we've never spoke of changing it because we love the story. 3 generations have been raised in this house. There's something very special about seeing the house unchanged over the years as the scenery around it has changed, and the people who were raised there are now grown up with families and now us, raising our son here. I love that his great-grandfather has pics in front of this house, and now our son does too.
Not the a-hole, your child can suck it up, no offense to your child. Teenagers are moody, I would know, I am one, and he'll get over it. Also, your mother-in-law should respect your decisions in parenting and about your house. I think your son will mature to understand that pink is not an embarrassing color, and honestly your mother-in-law should too.
Good time to teach son that pink is not just a girl color and not to get hung up on what other people think and say.
Your son is 13. The house could be painted by Samuel L. Jackson and his peers would find a way to embarrass him for it. Hopefully he's not getting bullied too hard at school. It's not easy to be the kid in the house. I remember a kid who lived in a huge house in a nice neighborhood with everything a kid could want, top-of-the-line gaming setup, trampoline, Great Dane puppy, and a big yard with a fire pit, and he got bullied. Why? Because it was across the street from his primary school. The general teasing kinda turned to a stigma aura by the time he got to secondary school, and only the new kids would make friends with him. It was like students didn't talk to him but also couldn't tell you why they didn't talk to him. Kids are cruel in ways we can't understand half the time. So, I'm gonna say no a-holes here. Your kid had the right to ask and you have the right to say no. He doesn't understand that the home is a middle finger to your neighbors.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories.